Hi, I'm Randy Reid, editor of Designing Lighting magazine, and we are here at Euroluce 2025 in Milan. I'm joined by Cindy Morris, the president and CEO of the Dallas Market Center. Cindy, welcome.
Thanks, Randy. It's great to be with you here in Milan.
It's nice to see you, and I'm going to interview Patty right after you to talk about ArchLIGHT Summit, but I want to learn a little bit more about the Dallas Market Center and Lightovation.
Absolutely. So the Dallas Market Center was actually founded in 1957 by Trammell Crow. And
Trammell Crow.
Yes, the Trammell Crow built the Dallas Market Center, and it is a 5.5 million square foot campus of products ranging from gift, home, lighting to all apparel categories.
Furniture?
And so furniture, interior design.
Okay.
And so within our campus, we are open daily to serve the interior design market, but beyond that, we also hold trade shows throughout the year, which are timed around product line breaks, and we hold 2 shows a year for the residential decorative lighting market, Lightovation, and then we also hold ArchLIGHT Summit in September. We also hold 4 gift and home shows a year. And then we host 5 apparel shows a year, 2 Western and English shows a year, 2 men's shows a year. So there's lots going on at the Dallas Market Center.
Well, I've been to Lightovation, and I think I went to the January show, and if I'm correct, you have moved that date now?
Yes, we have. We've shifted it by 3 days. So it's traditionally had been a Wednesday start, and it will be a Saturday start in January 2026. And our June show will still continue to start on Wednesday.
Okay, and then with this January show, the one coming up, you're doing a little thing on tariffs, if I'm correct.
We are actually, we've been focusing on nearshoring, and we started it's actually been about 18 months ago, we started working on just nearshoring overall and looking for options to help our exhibitors be able to source products closer to home. And so we launched a show this past December called Nearshoring America, and we had vendors in from Mexico, but also a lot of lighting companies in from South America, several from Brazil. And so that show debuted December of 2024, and then we will follow up with another show in January of 26, just prior in conjunction with the Lightovation show. But in between, we want to provide educational opportunities for our exhibitors. And so in June, we'll be hosting a talk with Jonathan Gold of the National Retail Federation. He's their expert on trade and tariffs. Because as you know, this topic is changing daily, and so we feel that hourly, you're absolutely right. So we feel like if we can, Jonathan will do a seminar in June, and then we'll continue in the fall with some follow-up educational events that lead up to our January 2026 next Nearshoring event.
Okay, excellent, I understand. Tell our audience a little bit about Spectrum.
Spectrum is a shared showroom space that we have in Dallas Market Center during Lightovation, and it's really for companies who are just getting started in the marketplace, either starting a business or their first experience in Dallas. And then we also have, beyond Spectrum, an international pavilion for international companies coming into the Lightovation show, where it's a shared space where they can exhibit for the first time. And some companies use both Spectrum and the International Pavilion almost as incubator spaces. Spaces where they can get started with their business, and then as their business grows, they move into their own permanent showroom. But these are great opportunities for companies either just beginning in business or entering the U.S. market or entering Lightovation to be able to have a smaller space, shared space where they can start.
It sounds like a very smart idea to do that and to bring them in, and that they don't have the cost of a full showroom, because
exactly.
That is a big overhead. All right, now you're launching a new website, is that right?
We are. The website will launch in May of this year, and we're really excited about it. It's actually been 2 years building this new website.
Is it a Lightovation website or a Dallas Market Center website?
It's both. It's Dallas Market Center and Lightovation, and I think what's really great about it is, one, the search functionality is much more enhanced from what we've had in the past. We'll be able to search by price point, search by style. Really, the functionality is almost what you would see in an online marketplace, which is real exciting for us. And then beyond that, exhibitors there'll be an exhibitor portal for exhibitors to access, and also a buyer portal where the exhibitors can put in their showroom staff names, buyers can put in their buyer names, keep it updated. So it really is a revolution in a lot of respects for us on the website.
I want to do a bit of a deep dive on that.
Okay.
We're talking about sorting by pricing. Can anybody see that, or is it for specific buyers that you guys have approved that have their own username and password, or is it for general public?
No, it will be for buyers. So the buyer will have to have a buyer portal. There'll be an approved and registered buyer, and then they can go in and they'll be able to search by price points in terms of like, for lack of a better word, like dollar signs, that type, not specific pricing, but it'll be like if you're looking for high-end lighting of a certain style, you'll be able to search that way.
Okay, interesting. So really, you're making yourself much more valuable than just that physical presence in Dallas.
Absolutely. Well, it helps the retailer when they're there be able to work more efficiently. And I think that's really what they look for at market is, how do they see new product? They want to meet and they want to network and they want to make their time as efficient as possible because that's time out of their retail lighting showroom.
How is the showroom industry doing these days?
We've seen a fair amount of consolidations, we've seen some sales, but what we've also seen is we've seen a lot of growth in terms of expanding customer bases. And a prime example is a lot of those retail lighting showrooms that are expanding more into servicing the builder market or servicing the interior designer market, in addition to just what they've done in the past. So we've seen lots of changes and evolution in that.
Okay, well, Cindy, it's a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Randy.
Okay, Patty, thank you for joining us. We just had a nice visit with Cindy, and now I want to talk to you a little bit about ArchLIGHT Summit. I felt like last year you really turned the corner as a show. I think about there's one major show that has a long waiting list, and it's packed with people. There's another major lighting show, I'll just say it doesn't have a waiting list, to be kind. You're somewhere in between.
That's
right?
correct.
You're
That's
somewhere
right.
in between. So tell our audience a little bit. You turned the corner last year with ArchLIGHT.
Exactly. So last year, Randy, we sold out the floor, and so that was 110 exhibitors. And this year we're on par to do the same. We've added 10 more exhibit spaces, so 120 approximately. So we're on track to fulfill that, and it's working real well.
Okay. You started during COVID, and it was tough to start a trade show during COVID. But there has to be some sense of self-accomplishment, I would think, on your part and your team because of what you've done, because some of those early shows, weren't so successful.
That's right, and a lot of it depends on, Randy, what's going on. So getting the sales agencies, as you know, for these lighting shows, commercial lighting shows, is a number one priority. So last year, what really turned the corner for us was ALA participating, and they had over 30 booths. This year they're on par to have about 47.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So what do you attribute that to?
Well, to your point, there's one show not doing so well, the other is doing well, and there's a waiting list. And also they just see what's going on in Dallas and what we can do. Our programming is top notch. That's a second reason. That's drawing the attendees, which is what they want. This year we're going to have, WAC is going to sponsor a specifier program, which will bring in about 40 specifiers, in addition to who we're inviting and talking to.
Okay, that's great, because I think there are two key things. One is the audience.
Correct.
And you're doing that. Another are the cost. Can you tell our audience what the hourly union labor rate is at your show?
We can. It's actually $0. Same for drayage. We are easy to work with and really inexpensive.
Right, and I think that's just such a huge advantage. People can come and set up their own show, they can ship it there, and they don't have to worry about all the nonsense and the bills that they can't even forecast that are going to come.
Well, just coming from Leducation a few weeks ago, talking to some of my permanent tenants at the Dallas Market Center, the cost of the union, it outweighs the cost of the booth and the fee.
Okay, tell us what lighting agents you have. You mentioned ALA, bringing 47. Who are the other agents?
Texas Lighting Solution is really on par. They're going to have about 30. We've got Hosley, PLG. I'm working on a new group, DSI Southwest. They've got Nicor and Westinghouse as manufacturers, so working with them. There's still one agency we're not totally on board with, NextGen, so got to figure out what's going on there.
Okay, and there's something else you've always done great are the parties and the entertainment. Do you have any of that planned yet for this show? I know we're early.
We have events planned. It'll be, we're going to publicize that any day now, but Casambi is always great in hosting the happy hour. We've got the Women in Lighting Design, WILD, will have their happy hour opening the show.
That's the night before.
Yep, exactly. And, you know, I think that bodes well for what we do during the day as well, where we have our Texas Roundup, which is sponsored by the sales agencies. They have their own individual booth, that they have their own individual hospitality.
Okay, closing comment.
Closing comment, September 16th and 17th. This is the year, and we'll probably outgrow our space, Randy, because we've got 120 booths. I'm anticipating, with what you talked about, the other two shows, that we're going to have to find another space on campus. Luckily, as Cindy mentioned, we've got 5.5 million square feet, so there are other spaces that we can take over.
Okay, let's back up, because I don't know that. I don't know how that works. I know you're building, and you're in the ground floor.
Of the trademark.
Okay, of the trademark. So there are other buildings, I guess, where you've got.
Right. The world.
So this year you were in the trademark.
Correct. Atrium floor of the trademark, and that third and fourth floor of the trademark are the lighting showrooms.
Right.
And we do have a showroom event going on Wednesday afternoon when the show closes. So we want people to go into those showrooms because that's unique to the show. You can't do that.
Happy hours as well.
That's right. Well, all kinds of hospitality, games and prizes, but they also, you can't do that at other shows. So our event and programming is, to your point, right on par. But if you go to the World Trade Center, there's 15 floors. There are probably 2 floors that have space that we have temporary shows on that we could.
I never knew that.
Yes.
Because I thought you were limited.
No.
And capped.
We also could go across the street. We own the Market Hall, and we could go that route. So we'll have to worry about that when that comes up.
If I may, respectfully, that's always been a problem for education. They've run out of space.
That's
It's a good problem for them to have because they have grown and been so successful, they've run out of space. You don't foresee that problem.
Because we own our own facility, that's what makes it wonderful, because we can now put that money toward events and programming. And working with all the different associations from IES, IALD, Trust, and AIA, all the associations, I mean, they're also now starting to have their events on our campus year round.
Wow, well that's great. Okay, Patty, congratulations on your success.
Thank you much.
All right, thank you.